Maybe make it.
Yeah, medical wise, Donovan, I think, he was obviously on a minutes restriction that was somewhere around, 10 to 15, for the Creighton game. So, he'll be able to extend that in this next one here. Came out feeling really great. Really light, really great, and so otherwise everyone is ready to go.
Go to Adam first. Adam, you're muted.
Dan, I just had a quick St. Benedict's prep question for you. I was there last night for the Blair St. Benedict's game, and Joe Mantegna said he was, rooting for you and proud of you, but mentioned that he'd, beaten you guys a couple of times when he was the coach. How did your time at St. Benedict's, and in those kind of games, you think sort of paved the way and start preparing you for coaching in college?
Yeah, I saw that tweet too. I appreciated it. I think, I learned, I worked for an incredible leader in Father Edwin Leahy. It really taught me about leadership. What he's done for so many kids in Newark and what he's done in education and so many lives he's changed. Learned a lot from Father Ed, but it was just such a blessing for me to get fired as an assistant at Rutgers. And then learn trial and error. A lot in my time there. Just as a high school coach, without the enormous pressure that a lot of first-time head coaches feel at the college level. I was able to learn from my mistakes, develop a coaching personality of my own, and and then I was able to study a lot of college coaches that were coming in and recruiting players for my program. And I think I learned from talking to those players that were recruited to a lot of places that what we were doing at St. Benedict's, was going to be very successful in college, and that, if given an opportunity at the college level as a head coach, I would just take the exact things I was doing, late in my time at Benedict's, just take the exact same approach, take a high school approach to being a college coach.
How good would you say some of the, you coach against Kevin Boyle, Joe Mantegna, where do these guys rank as coaches, compared to some of the college coaches you've gone against?
I mean, come on, those guys are, as good or better. Get my dad, who's as good or better than any of the best coaches in his generation. I mean, leave him out, he's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
But, Kevin and Joe, some of the coaches I coached against in high school are, as good or better than any of the coaches that, that coach at the college level. Kevin Boyle is one of the best coaches, in basketball. Joe is one of the top coaches.
Thanks, buddy. Good luck.
Thank you.
Go to Mike next.
Hey, Dan, it was 4 years ago yesterday when you famously said, "Better get us now, it's coming." What do you remember feeling about your team that day and feeling about the future of your program?
I was extremely, confident walking out of there that day. Not so much the MSG a year earlier versus Nova, where they smoked us in the second half before we knew what hit us. But I saw the gap closing between where we were and where we were that day versus, the elite program in college. So Jay's Wildcats, they were the top cats, in all of college. They were the barometer. So we just, the way we played that day, being in it to the end and knowing that our culture was going to keep improving and our talent level was going to keep increasing, just felt like we were on a great track that day. It was a gut-wrenching loss, but I knew it was coming.
Thanks.
Go to Gavin.
Hey, Dan, you've got almost 5 guys averaging double figure steps at 9.7. How difficult does that make your team to defend?
Yeah, I think similar to Villanova, they've got great balance as well. They have a plethora of talent. I think going into the year, did the same exercise last year. We knew that we would have 4 guys, between 13 and 16, or 14 and 15, with Tristan, Cam, Donovan, and Alex, and then we knew Steph would be around doubles and double figure scoring. So we knew that we were going to have a very unique, offensive team, and and then obviously that's why I think all the things we talked about the preseason were leadership and depth and toughness, because we knew that we would be a really good offensive team this year, because there's not too many teams in the country that have 4 guys that can go for 20 plus, plus Steph, who's been living, in that 10, 12, 14 range too.
Thanks.
We'll go to Dave next.
Hey, Dan. This might be a little nitpicky since obviously things are going very well for you guys right now. But yeah, a Xavier game, you were up 14 and they got it to almost a possession in the last minute. Creighton, you're up 22. They got it to 10. I mean, obviously you won both games. And again, maybe a little nitpicking here, but do you see any similarities in those 2 games with as far as closing it out? And is that a concern for you at all?
Yeah, it is. Anything that doesn't go, that's not executed the way you want, or whether they were strategic issues on my part, you're taking a long, hard look at. I think it gets to that place in the game where you've got to be able to, either do you stay aggressive or do you start clocking it? And then if you are clocking it, you can clock it for half the possession, but then you've got to get into attack mode the last 12 seconds of the clock. So, I do think we probably should have stayed aggressive longer. But we did earn a significant cushion. Obviously, the Xavier game, I think, was probably more. There was more to learn in terms of what not to do. So, yeah, but we're something we've discussed internally and we've reviewed with the team in video.
Thank you.
Got it.
Go to Joe next.
Dan, obviously last year you had the 1-2 punch with Adama and Donovan. How much do you expect Sampson to benefit with having Donovan back, especially getting the experience that he did?
I think you saw him be better already. Just knowing that just knowing that he's got Donovan, kind of with him there. He's not playing as tentatively. He's not playing, can't foul, I can't foul, into fouling more. I just think when Donovan back is good. It's really good for everybody, but quietly, it may be the best for Sampson, almost out of everybody. I think he can just kind of get back to flying around, and doing the Slamson things.
And when you look at the matchup with Eric Dixon, is that one that you think Sampson will excel in, with him being able to be so mobile and guard around the perimeter and inside?
I mean, listen, Eric Dixon is, he's not, he's clearly a first team all Big East player and so many good players. It's even hard to have first and second teams in this league. He's one of the best players in the league. He's a unique offensive player. Third of his shot attempts are coming from three. He's the focal point of what they do. So, you got to do different things defensively against him when Donovan's in the game, when Sampson's in the game, and it better be a team defensive script because you can't guard him one-on-one.
Thank you.
Go to Roger next.
Dan, you guys have made a lot of improvements to get to first place in the Big East, #1 in the country. What do you have to do to sustain that? Are there still things you really need to improve if you want to get to where you really want to be?
Defensively, defensively and on the backboard, specifically the defensive glass, but just that rebounding dominance. We survived comfortably the other night versus a top team when we, a good portion of it had to do with Creighton's defense, but then we missed some opportunities that we usually do finish. But again, credit them that their defense is one of the best. But I think what was unique about last year's team and made us so hard to beat in March and throughout the year was we can win any type of game. And this year we hadn't really proven that we could win the rock fight game, and we did have the St. John's win, but that was obviously a really close game that could have gone either way. So we showed that we could play dominant defense and dominant rebounding versus a top flight team, and that we could win when we're not burying threes and making offense look real pretty.
Thanks.
We'll go to Ian here.
Obviously you said Donovan's minutes are going to go up this game. Are you planning on starting him, or are you going to give him one more game off the bench?
Are you Ian?
Yes.
Ian, are you telling me to give him one more game off the bench and then start him, or?
No, I'm asking you if you were going to.
Oh, all right. Oh, okay, I got you. Yeah, I mean, I think we'll just play it by ear. I think that's not something that we're at this point with Donovan being back so recently. I think we're just so happy to have him out there, and obviously there'll be an increase in minutes, but we can't put him into the lineup until we feel like he could give us 25, I think. So
Dave and then Gavin to wrap up.
Yeah, Dan, just how does Villanova under Kyle Neptune resemble Villanova under Jay Wright stylistically? I mean, obviously they haven't had success yet, but you see similarities?
Yeah, I mean the defensive structures and philosophies and the way that they play offense with the spacing and posting the guards and all the different things. It's very Villanova-like. Obviously, Kyle's done an unbelievable job, leading the program, to replace, one of the all-time great coaches in college and in a high-pressure job where the standards are so high. It's people don't maybe have an appreciation for how difficult that is, as opposed to taking over a job where small victories, are parades waiting back on campus. So, you know, he's a really, really smart, talented, you know, coach who's done an unbelievable job putting together an incredibly talented roster that is as talented as any in our league. And as the season goes on and these guys get more comfortable together, they're going to be an incredibly tough out in our league in terms of playing at the top of it, and going to be a problem for anyone in the NCAA tournament. They've got some of the best wins in the country, you know, beating Carolina and yeah, but the guy's done a great job in an absolute, you know, pressure cooker job that a lot of men couldn't handle.
Thanks.
Got it.
Gavin, the last wrap up.
Dan, Steph, obviously the starter on the #1 team in the country as a freshman. How do you think he's handled it? I mean, he's obviously handled it well on the court, but his approach and everything, you know, how do you think how he's handled it?
Starts at home with having incredibly supportive parents that, you know, that aren't, you know, fans of his or trying to be his best friend. They're parents, and they set an incredibly high standard for him. So they just support us, you know, and let us coach him and allow us to push him and set incredibly high standards for him at UConn and be about winning. Obviously, he's got incredible talent, NBA talent. And, you know, they're enjoying his time here. And I know Quan loves Twitter, and Stacey's maybe a little bit more low key on there, but, you know, they're just great people that have made this thing about, you know, their son coming to UConn and trying to win and develop and listen to your coaches and trust your coaches and trust the process. Yeah, but again, they're not fans of their son, you know, or trying to please him. They've kind of, I think, got it the right way as parents, and it makes our job easy.